camera going. We got our Facebook channel going. And the music is coming on. Where are the headphones? All the little details on our TGIF edition of the Real Estate Show. Let's hope that the...
Utilizing real estate, mortgages, and related financial...
Let's go, man. Ah, there it is.
Specific financial...
Marianne.
It's dedicated to helping
Welcome.
you find the safe, sensible approach to buying income-producing real estate. If you have any questions about the program or to arrange a consultation, call toll-free 888-595-7779. That's 888-595-7779. Now, today's edition of The Real Estate Show.
And hello, South Florida. Welcome to another live edition of the Real Estate Show, the TGIF edition of the Real Estate Show, known as TGIF Squared here amongst our folks. My name is Eric Willner. I am your host of the Real Estate Show, America's longest running daily radio show and South Florida's #1 show about real estate. And I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of really excited and amped up about today's show, as I actually am about the entire day today. And I want to share with you a little bit about my day today. And I hope that it doesn't come off as braggadocio, but more of I want to share with you what it means to follow the automatic landlord steps. We've developed our website where you can also hear this radio show live streaming each and every weekday evening at 8 o'clock. That's Eastern time. You can go to automaticlandlord.com at the top of the page up here where it says the Real Estate Show. Click on the notes if you want to hear the past shows. Click on listen live if you want to hear us live. And I have sort of a series, of rituals. And I think that you'll find that most successful people subscribe to the concept of daily rituals. Hey, Felipe, how are you? I just got a message there on our Facebook Live from Felipe. Hey, Eric, how you doing from California? So we've got Florida, California, all over the country that tune in to us. And as I was saying about the rituals, people who are successful have a lot of good habits, right? You can call them habits, you can call them rituals. But every day when I get up in the morning, somewhere between 6 and 6:30, and I usually wake up pretty naturally. I set an alarm to make sure in case I don't oversleep. But the truth is a lot of times I wake up and I just kind of wait in bed for the alarm to go off. But it's step one of my ritual. One of the really cool books that I read, it's called the Morning Miracle, and it talks about it's a 6-step ritual, and they abbreviate it as SAVERS. The S stands for silence, prayer, and meditation. Just spend a little bit of time with yourself and just think, meditate, pray, whatever it is that you want to do during those few minutes. And you can do it for a quick 2-minute thing. It could be it could be a 30-minute thing. It's really up to you, and it's very personalized. The A stands for affirmation. That's when you go through your head and you start to fill your head with positive thoughts. My 8th degree black belt master taught me one before also, and was one of his rituals. He called it the bookends. He started his day on a very positive note, filling his mind and his head with very positive things, and he finished the day. So he didn't watch the news, the 11 o'clock news, and hear all the doom and gloom, the latest drive-by shootings, who said what against who on Twitter. He had positive bookends. So he finished his day on a positive note and started his day. So, but if you go these, and I'll just go real quick. It's the silence, the affirmation, the visualization. Visualize what you want and what your goals are. And the more that you can see that, professional athletes do that. Even when they're shooting hoops, even when they're not even on the court, they're in their mind. They're already shooting that perfect shot, nothing but net. Then the E is for exercise. So after I get up, I go and I spend about half an hour doing exercise, getting my body moving, getting my blood flowing, getting my cardio going. And it energizes me for the rest of the day. And people wonder why you start with so much energy in the beginning of the day. It's because I got it going. After the SAVER is for reading. Spend about half an hour reading something, and it could be positive things. It could be something in a new area that you're studying. I'm studying French. It could be in any area, but read a little bit. And the S finally is for scripting or writing something in the form of a diary. Any life worth living is worth documenting and putting in a diary. Anyway, so that's my morning ritual every single day, 7 days a week. And then when I get done out of bed, out of the exercise, then I go into my office and I prepare and I plan my day. And in this particular day today, I had to spend 8 hours of continuing education that I have to do every year to keep my mortgage broker's license active. Now, I chose, and I think I mentioned that in yesterday's show, I chose that I was going to go in person. Yes, in the middle of the COVID, I decided to do it in person. And I did it for a very specific reason. I could do it online because there's 3 options that I could have done. I could have done it online at my own pace on a timed computer and you could probably multitask and do other things at the same time. Not what I was going to do. I could go online while the teacher is live teaching it, sitting in my office. Again, I could probably multitask, do some stuff, never have to drive, save myself a bit of that. But I went in person for a couple of reasons. Number one, I didn't want to multitask. I wanted to be focused. I wanted to get up to date with all the laws, all the things that I needed to know. So I legitimately did my 8 hours of continuing education. That was reason number 2. What was reason number 1? Reason number 1 was because I wanted to network with some of the other people. I wanted to see who was good, and I met 2 really good people in today's in today's class who I think I'm going to develop a relationship with, and a teacher who I thought was very cool, and so it was so worth it. And that was part of the goal that I had set for today. That was my intention going to this meeting. So I networked. Then I, did the usual thing since I was out of the house, hitting the P.O. box, picking up the mail and everything like that. And then when I got home, guess what it did? I kicked in my afternoon. Those of you who listen to the show every day know that I will go at 5 o'clock. I turn the office off. I go out for a 30-minute, 3-mile run, more or less that time, where I'm also listening to positive stuff while I'm running. That's part of what I'm doing in building my businesses. And then so when I came back from that, I slipped right into another Zoom meeting, a business meeting with another business group that I have. Went for my swim, just like I always do. And so here I am. What was so very cool is here, this natural flow of a day. And I'm telling you that this is really the blessed life that you can have as an automatic landlord. So let's fast forward. I just wanted to kind of share with you that why it's so energizing that in the middle of some of the worst stuff, and that'll be part of my recap here as we go into our Friday wrap up. As you know, each and every week we kind of follow another ritual, right? The ritual is on Mondays, we start out with our Mondays on a mission. On Mondays, I set up the agenda of the week. And what I do is I'll lay out and reiterate for new listeners that on Mondays, we talk about sort of the C-suite approach to real estate, talking probably a little bit more from a business owner's point of perspective and what you should be thinking about and concerned about. And I also like to drop what I call the macro theme of the week. This week, I talked about the dash. And this is a big deal. And if you really think about it, this is not an insignificant conversation. And I started out and I said, picture on the last day of your life, as you take your last breath, assuming it, and let's assume, why not, that it's a peaceful breath. You lived a full life. You finally lay your head down, rest for the last time, and they erect a tombstone for you. And on the tombstone, it has your name, and then it has your date of birth, a dash, and your date of death. And think about that for a second. The date of birth was a specific moment in time, one moment in time. The date of death was a specific moment in time. Everything else in your life is represented by that dash. What does your dash represent? And that's a question that you have to have. And I talked a little bit about of that on Tuesday, because on our tools, tips, and techniques, I always like to go from the C-suite approach to real estate down to the trenches, the boots on the ground where the rubber hits the road, and we talk about certain tools that we use, whether it be software or strategies or tips. And the tip that I was talking about in particular on this Tuesday, as you can see, it was sort of a high-level week, and you're going to see it's carried through. On Tuesday, we talked about that the dash, a really meaningful dash, doesn't exist in the comfort zone that you live in. One of the things that you'll hear, again, a lot of people will tell you that can give good advice, will tell you that the way that you grow, both mentally, physically, spiritually, and in every single way, is to move outside of your comfort zone. Get off the couch. Stop playing video games. Don't waste your time in front of the TV. The best things that you can do in life don't exist anywhere there, unless it's spending quiet time with your family or someone that you love that's meaningful. But you got to get out of your comfort zone. And we spent Tuesday talking about that in the concept of how do you create a meaningful dash. Now, a lot of people who are listening to the radio show here on the Real Estate Show are looking to real estate as being probably the best vehicle. Now, I will tell you that there's no probably about that. If it were not for real estate, I wouldn't have my own radio show. I wouldn't have the rituals and the lifestyle that I told you to. By the way, all day today, I kept thinking it was Saturday. I get to the building over at Gold Coast School. Free plug for you, Gold Coast. I get to the school, and of course, I bring my mask. I'm going to wear my mask into class. And like restaurants, once you get into the class, all the seats are socially distanced, so they're well seated apart. You can take off your mask and you can breathe normally through the day. But walking to there, the parking lot was virtually empty. There was easy parking close to the door. I get into the building. The building is it looks like a Saturday. It looks like I'm going to the office on a Saturday. Nobody's there. And the only thing that's busy there is Gold Coast School, which is having several classes. You know, mine was the mortgage brokers continuing education. They had the real estate agents, classes and the other classes that they teach for construction, insurance, and all those other things. Anyway, get out of your comfort zone. As you can see, I'm constantly pushing myself out of my comfort zone and setting goals and going into these process. Anyway, then comes Wednesday. So that was Monday, Tuesday. I'm going to come back to Wednesday. I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break, hear a few words from our sponsors. When we go into Wednesday, I had some big announcements on Wednesday, and it was really a leading question, not only to help you with your dash, but also to tell you where real estate's going over the next 6 to 12 to 18 months. So don't touch that dial. You're listening to the Real Estate Show. My name is Eric Willner, and I will be right back.
To handle all your back office.
So how's everybody doing there? So we got some nice, a nice crowd going on there on the Real Estate. By the way, kudos to you on a Friday evening. There you are, expanding your mind, learning more, and staying on top of real estate. I hope that you guys are having as great a week and making the most of what I call the economy of suspended animation in the middle of a pandemic. But in every gray cloud lies a silver lining, and there are several. And we've talked about some of those in a general way, but as I was mentioning before, I think even in a personal sense, it's a great opportunity to be using this to knock out all of this stuff. Thank you, Marianne, because I love how positive you always are. And it comes naturally because I truly feel blessed in the life that I'm living right now. And one of the things, my running time is not only just listening to positive stuff, but I'm always thinking through what I'm doing. It's always a good time to learn. That's right. And the answer is yes, Marianne. The whole concept of you've heard the expression, right? Show me who your 5 closest friends are, and I'll tell you about you, right? And another version of that is your income is the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And so if you think about that, now some people may say that that's kind of a cold approach to things, And you know, there's a balance to this, but it's absolutely true. And more importantly than the income per se, like we're going to be coming back in a second, is the quality of the people that you surround yourself with. And that means that you have to make a conscientious decision to cut certain people out and include certain people in. And welcome back. For those of you just joining us, you are listening to the TGIF Squared edition of the Real Estate Show, South Florida's #1 program about real estate and America's longest running daily radio show about real estate. And we've been having a good time here, kind of recapping the week, hitting the high points of the week and sort of discussing like I like to do, what was the overarching theme. You know, each day of the week, Mondays on a mission, Tuesdays, tools, tips, and techniques. And now we're going to roll into Wednesday, which is the midweek report. And as I'm very fond of saying, the quality of the announcements that came out this week was very, very impactful. And in fact, I'll tell you that there were 3 primary big developments that I wanted to talk about. Now, remember, I don't profess to be a journalist. My radio show here is purely to help educate and sort of try to raise the tide of everybody in real estate. The more informed group of folks that we have out there in the real estate market, the better the real estate market is. And I'll also tell you that there ain't no more American business than the business of American real estate. It is the very dirt that we're on. It is one of the original businesses that existed. It is the best store of wealth known to man, not invented by man either. And it is a tremendous way to be able to build additional wealth. And as I have also said over the weeks, that in today's day and age, to rely on a single source of income is no longer the safe way to go. And that in today's day and age, you're hearing more and more about what's called the gig economy. In other words, you need to have more than one source of revenue. Now, in real estate, you may have multiple sources of revenue from multiple properties in real estate, but it sure ain't a bad idea to have outside sources of revenue. And that's why, of course, and I'll get to that again in when we get to our Thursday recap, but that's why yesterday, Don and I were talking about our new series starting up. It's going to be a 4-week series on entrepreneurship. Real estate, again, is the ultimate entrepreneurship venue. We're all in business for ourselves as landlords, and it is a testing time to be a landlord right now. It's a tricky time. By the way, 2 of the people that I was networking with today, one had 25 properties. I forget what the other person was, but we were able to trade information, and a lot of it I traded to them, was how do you handle tenants that refuse to pay, that are not affected by the pandemic, and all of a sudden some light bulbs went off, and I'm sure I was able to help them as well. But back to the 3 developments. Let's go back to our Wednesday show. On Wednesday, which is our midweek report, the purpose of the news that I bring to the show is not to be the newscaster, but to be the director, hopefully the leader, to point you where real estate is going. Now, it's funny, in my mortgage brokers continuing education class that I sat through 8 hours with today, there was a conversation about what's going to happen to the market in the next 6 months or so. And we had polar differences. One was saying, you know, it's no kidding that with all of the unemployment that's out there, with all of the forbearances that are out there, with all of the tenants and not paying rent and that are going to be evicted out there, there's no question that we're going to have, an absolute crisis in the real estate market on one hand. And that was from a reputable person who owns a bunch of properties, has a mortgage broker's license, has a real estate license, and that was their opinion. On the other end of the spectrum was another fellow, very successful, very established mortgage broker, been in the business longer than I have, which means, over 2 decades. And he was saying, don't worry, because here in South Florida, we ain't going to have no problems with the real estate market because everybody wants to come to Florida. We have a shortage of inventory. The trend is migrating from big cities to spread out landscapes like Florida. And we have, which is true, an in-migration of about 1,000 people per day net. That's the net. So if you were to add up all the people driving and moving to Florida, minus all the people leaving and driving out of Florida, if you were to add in all the people being born in Florida, subtract all the people dying in Florida, net, we have over 1,000 new bodies in Florida each and every day of the year. That's over 365,000. Call it more like 400,000. And depending on when, this may throw that number up. Maybe it's 500,000 new people coming in. We're already the third most populated state in the country, trailing only California with 40 million, Texas with in the high 20s, and we're just getting ready to break into the 20 million population for the state. I think the Tri-County area in particular has almost half of that, maybe it's just under half of that. And so his argument was, you can have all the crisis, you can have all in the rest of the country. We're not going to have it. As you know, listening to my show, I fall somewhere a little bit in between. But I do agree that when we have a softening of the market, when they take out all of the artificial supports like the eviction moratorium and the foreclosure moratorium, that there will be an inevitable softening in the market for a while because of perception and sentiment. But as soon as you start to realize how much demand between the millennials, all the people moving, the shortage of, so back to the three developments before I run out of time. Number one, first big development, big announcement. I don't know whether you heard about it, but here it is. The Fed came out and announced that they were going to keep interest rates the same. In other words, they're not going to raise rates for the foreseeable future. And that's a quote. And so for the foreseeable future, which they mean at least a year, they are going to maintain interest rates at or near zero for between the banks. So that's great news for real estate. That's great news for a lot of businesses that are borrowing and who are accessing money in order to grow. It's a little bit of a hint saying that there's more money in the market than there is demand for it. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. In fact, I talked in great detail about that. If you want to hear any one of the shows that I'm talking about here, all you have to do is go back to automaticlandlord.com. That's automaticlandlord.com. Again, go to the top of the page under the real estate show and click on the real estate show notes. Each day, not only does it have a summary of what I talked about in writing, there'll also be a link to the show in its entirety. So you can download it as a podcast. You can just listen to it right there on the website, but it's always there available so you can get the full detail. Friday is really meant to hit the high notes. So the interest rates is one big announcement that makes a big deal. Number two is builder sentiment. All over the news, we're hearing about builder sentiment is strong. And I was trying to explain in there that that's really key because builder sentiment is a reflection of the market, not today, okay? Because when builders are going to get into the market, they need a runway because they have to get plans, buy the land, repurpose or re-permit, rezone the land. They have construction time. So they're thinking at least 9 to 12 months out. And when sentiment is strong, and not only is sentiment strong, but the prices of builder stocks are at an all-time high right now. It's telling you, again, all of these are positive signs, maybe not in the short run, maybe not in the intermediate run rather, but in the long run, that is the case. And that was the second major announcement that you ought to be paying attention if you're in real estate. And the third one, and think about this, the return of the iBuyers. Now, who are the iBuyers? Those of you in real estate really connected know iBuyers are these big funds. These are special purpose acquisition companies, SPACs. And I told you about that on Wednesday. It's a new term you're going to hear more about. In fact, it's a rather new term outside of the upper echelon in the finance world, but you're going to hear more about the word iBuyers and SPACs. And these are special companies, big companies. In fact, Open Door, you've probably heard of that one already. They're getting ready. They not only had a merger with another one of the SPACs, so now they're valued at around $4.8 billion. And they're just announced that they're about to go public, which who knows what that will do. That will grow them exponentially, which means that they're getting ready with a big giant kitty to come a-shopping. And I guarantee you that if the market goes down, which it will a little bit, they're going to come in. So if everybody else wants to buy and everybody thinks it's a good time to buy, how long do you think that dip will last? You heard it right here on the Real Estate Show. And so I wanted to share that, and that was a really key part of our Wednesday show. So we rolled into our Thursday show, and on Thursday, Don and I, who is my brother from another mother, an entrepreneur at heart, a real estate investor, and a multiple business owner, we were talking on the ATM edition, that's about the money edition of the show, about the 3 phases and how things are primed up. And we announced that we're doing a 4-part entrepreneur workshop immediately following our show. And if you want to sign up for that, all you have to do is go to automaticlandlord.com. That's go to automaticlandlord.com, and down where you can send a comment, just say 4-part series or entrepreneur, anything to let me know that you want to attend. It's free for all 4 weeks, but you got to register to attend because we got to send you instructions how to get to our Zoom meeting. Well, the music is in my ear. That means it's time for me to go. It's time for me to wrap up the Friday last and for once and for all. So this is Eric Willner signing off for the Real Estate Show. Until our next episode, which is 5 days a week, drive safe. Remember to wash those hands and make it a great day. God bless America. And there you go. Thanks, man. You enjoy your weekend as well. All right. Time to go enjoy a little bit of sushi with my honey. So I want to say good night and goodbye to you guys on YouTube. Thank you.